أهلا وسهلا، السلام عليكم، كيفكم؟ كويسين؟ كيف الدراسة؟ واجب كثير ولا لا؟ ممتاز. أنا مبسوطة. كويس كثير. Today, I have the absolute pleasure. This is one of the most happy I have ever been to introduce a speaker. We are joined today by Dr. Ramzi Salti, who is our near and dear professor, as well teaching the history of music class, which some of you have the opportunity to attend. Now, everyone, in preparing just to give this introduction, I can't even pare it down to one page. He has so many accomplishments. This man is he's an incredible gem. Dr. Ramzi is a lecturer in the Arabic program at Stanford University. He completed his doctorate in comparative literature. He's also the esteemed host of Arabology. Anyone here yet a listener of Arabology? Since yesterday, okay. After this lecture, all of you will be raising your hands as new, excited listeners of Arabology. Arabology is a very, very well-known podcast that focuses on الموسيقى البديلة, alternative, independent music coming out of the Arab world. It's a really, really fantastic podcast. I really, really highly recommend you listening to it. You can listen online. You don't actually have to be in San Francisco. He's also a published author. He has a collection of short stories that was widely praised, as well as articles in the field of comparative literature, in the field of entertainment, in the field of music. And in addition to that, translates and won so many awards for excellence in teaching, Favorite Professor Award in 2014, 2009, 2013, over 20 years of amazing service to the Arab American community and to academia. So it's with a very warm heart that I am going to introduce you today to Dr. Ramzi.
It's the first time I hear her speak English. Why do you speak English? When I took a slip and I said hi, she goes, you mean blah, blah. And thank you, Katy. Oh my gosh, I'm glad that I see some of my students and I see some of my students' spouses today. You'll enjoy the Syria section. But I wanted to say that, this podcast that I started, I was over 50, and I wanted to, sort of share this new music that was coming out of the Arab world since 2001, which we loosely call the Arab Spring. I'm not sure about that term, but it's that period where we felt optimism and where songs were coming out about social justice and equality and women's rights and all this. And so I decided, this music is too good to keep in Arabic only. I'm going to make it reach, I'm going to try to make it reach Stanford and the students. And it started with the Arabic students, students studying Arabic at Stanford. And then they told me, well, you can be a DJ. And I'm like, whoa, 50-year-old dude trying to be a DJ. And I did the training, and I got the FCC clearance, and I started the show Arabology, and it's been an amazing therapy for me after, working all day and teaching. I get to go from Dr. Salti to DJ Ramzi. And because it's the radio, you can't see it's an old guy. So people think I'm like 20 when I'm on the radio. I don't do TV. That's too obvious. Anyway, so the whole idea of talking about the Arab Spring these days is very problematic because, first of all, the term itself didn't even come from within the Arab world. Secondly, what I'd like to say, this spring has turned into winter, where you could be poetic. And you can also, I think in general, it's been disappointing, the kind of optimism we felt in certain places. Maybe Tunisia is the most sort of successful model, but even there we have issues. But then we have issues everywhere. And I don't think that revolutions start and end so quickly, so that, between 2011 and 2019, now suddenly people are like, oh, it failed or whatever. I think if you really feel the pulse of the music scene and the underground music scene, whether it's in Tunisia, in Egypt, in Jordan, in Lebanon, wherever you are, that is still going on. And because it's underground, and because commercial radios won't play it, you know, even in the Arab world, I think that that's where you can get the pulse of the Shabab and the Shabat, who are actually still experiencing a kind of inner Arab Spring and are still optimistic, inshallah, despite all the circumstances. Oh, sorry, but you're only easy. How are you? Have a seat. Anyway, so I have the YouTube pillars I'm going to take you through today, and where is your playlist? Oh, yeah. Are we out? Hey, can you give Katy yours? It's double-sided, Katy, the same paper. Anyway, and then you've got this scan thing. If you want to use the barcode, it would open up the. Right? You don't really need to do any of that. You could just click back and enjoy it. Inshallah. The numbers that are in bold are the songs that I'm going to try to talk about very briefly today. And I would love this to be interactive so that if, you know, don't wait till the end. If you feel like wowing out loud, do it. Get it out. Yeah. I don't like people who keep saying. And so I want to talk about, first of all, the whole idea of the Arab Spring. And this PowerPoint, by the way, Vera, you know who did this whole thing? No, Tamer Ahmar, who I think you know, who is a local artist and he does icons from Beirut, etc. So, everybody knows where the Arab Spring began. Tunisia, I think, and it can be pinpointed to one specific event. There we go. All right, so it started with this guy. And who knows this guy? You know this guy? Oh, do you want to know this guy? His name is Jadal, and of course it's a pseudonym, and he had to go by that name because this guy, this young man, this rapper, this hip hop artist, you know, grew up listening to rap in the States. And of course, whenever he would try to rap in Arabic, people would go, oh please, this is such a Western genre, you can't take rap music and make it your own, it's from New York, it's from the streets, American community, blah, blah, blah. But he nevertheless did it. He was able to take this genre and put the kind of lyrics and music that appealed to the masses, so much so that his song, which is called Ra'is al-Balad, President of the country. And who was the president of the country at that time in Tunisia? Exactly. And you know, this music fueled the revolution. It fueled young people to go into the street. And so then we find out his name is Hamdan bin Amro, and or Ahmed. And basically, he was arrested. He was, you know, detained, and he would come out of jail or detention. Sometimes they bruised up the kid, and like right back to the street and right back to singing it. And because of the internet, they were trying to, like, you know, censor this website. The song would pop up here. Everybody's getting it on their phone, and so it's like Arabic rap, and it's pretty potent. So I'm going to play for you a part of it, and you let me know what you think. Okay. So yeah, because basically this is what we want. And Vera, while you're there, can you go to like you know, scroll up here? And looks like as if I'm like, wow. And click on this one, and now it should play. I make it big screen in this one, Vera. Vera, I owe you a huge month up for this. and we'll start inshallah.
استبلاد أنا اليوم نحكي معاك باسمي واسم الشعب الكل اللي عايش في الأحلام 2011 ما زال فما شكون يموت بالجوع حب يخدم باش يعيش لكن صوته مش مسموع اهبط في الشارع وشوف لعبت ولا تحوش شوف الحاكم بالمتراك تاكا تاك ما على بالوش مادام ما فما حد باش يقول له كلمة لا حتى القانون اللي في الدستور نسخه واشرب ماه كل نهار
This is all Tunisian dialect and it's a brand new way of like hearing the Arabic. So yes, tell me, weird to hear rap in Arabic. Did it? It's nice to have the subtitles. Anybody? Yeah, awesome in what? Awesome in the sense of.
In the sense that there's like.
That's simply awesome.
It's also
I mean, it worked, it hit you in a way like if you were a Tunisian young person who, of course, grows up listening to American songs as well as your own songs. Do you feel that the way the rap was like just going on and on and on, and the police and the batons and the this and the that, and so then he goes into women's rights and other things. I mean, he was amazing, but of course that first scene you saw. Did you see it with Menadi when he was still president and they picked this part where he's talking to a child and he said, talk to me, the child is so afraid, And I think, it was taken out of context obviously for the video, but it kind of worked as an intro. So that is the El General, and I think he is the beginning of the Arab Spring. From El General to the female voice of the Tunisian Revolution, and that would be Emel Mathlouthi. Who's heard of her? Oh, you have? Oh my gosh, yeah. Back in 2011 when she started, nobody had heard of her. And so she burst onto the scene with a song called Filmiki Hurra. My word is free and unencumbered. And she had this amazing voice. And she literally, without I don't think she even had her guitar. She would just have to sing about freedom with her voice. So we'll see her here. As this was captured live, listen to how her voice mobilizes the masses. You see this moment, she kind of got scared, she sat down, they started to say, Ahmad, continue, we're behind you. There literally was, authorities coming. And she gets up and she does this. So all these videos are part of the YouTube list, you can watch them in their entirety. But I have to tell you, when I saw this video and I saw this young person just singing like this fearlessly, and the words are hers, the music is hers, she's writing and composing. I had to get in touch, so I got in touch with Emel Mathlouthi. She came to Stanford, I don't know if you remember her, she came to the Bling, which is a nice concert hall we have there, and she sang, and she started finally being acknowledged. But she never sold out. To this day, she's still doing her own thing. She will not sign. A lot of record companies are trying to tame her and, commercialize her. She's still doing her own thing. And here is a moment, I think, that is one of the most beautiful moments you can see in Indian Arabic music. That's her Nobel Peace Prize singing the same song you heard before, only this time with an orchestra and a symphony. And for this one, Katy, I think it is worth turning the lights off.
أنا أحرار ما يخافوش أنا أسرار ما يموتوش أنا صوت المرثوش أنا سر الوردة الحمراء اللي عشقوا بالحافة النار تنادي عالأحرار.
Yeah, so from singing in the streets and in very dangerous settings to being honored at the Nobel Prize ceremony, singing the same song she composed, and then being so, kudos to Emel, who I told her we're going to talk about today and sends her love. لازم نجيبها we should bring her sometime. If she was in town, I would have brought her. I would have cashed in on my favors. And so from Tunisia, of course, it spread over into Egypt. And who is El General of Egypt? I mean, no two people are the same, but Ramy Essam. So let's see who's heard of Ramy Essam. Okay, so Ramy Essam was in many ways the voice of the Egyptian soundtrack, the revolution soundtrack. And so, of course, he would take his guitar, he would go down to Midan al-Tahrir, he would get hassled, he would get whatever. And I think there was a movie called The Square and Midan. You can watch it, I think, on Netflix even now. And really, they were able to have him talk about some of the things he was suppressing, but he was severely tortured. And now lives in Sweden, but continues from Sweden to send his regards to what he considers an oppressive regime. And so this is him, this is the pre-Sweden, I don't know, he's not commercial, but he's now got a record company. Just watch the way he mobilizes the masses with songs.
عايز اقول لاي حد ما كانش بينزل بقاله فتره كبيره عندنا على السلامه وبقالنا فيه في الولاد. وعايز اقول لاي حد من اي طائفه او من اي فكر موجود ما تسمعش كلام والقاده بتوعك، ما تبقاش تابع، خليك تابع لبلدك، خليك تابع لمصر بس.
So, and then he breaks into his songs, which were really raw with the guitar. Now, when he became, where he got a lot of attention on American TV in the US, this is a good report on your list there, but it's a little too graphic, I think, to play here. But if you want to really hear his story, and then came the kind of commercial song, which is called Aish Hurriya Adala Ijtimaiya. And Stephen translated the title beautifully to me, telepathically. Do you know what Hurriya means? Adala Ijtimaiya, social justice. And Aish, which comes from the verb Aish, actually in Egyptian means bread. And so it's called bread, freedom, social justice. I'm going to play it, but I want you to be honest. Tell me, do you feel it's been too, prettied up? Is his videos no longer as potent because they've become commercial? I don't know. I'm going to play it and you tell me. So, what do you think? Rahir, tell me, how did this hit you?
I think it is kind of commercialized.
Yeah.
I think
It's just so polished and so, it's almost like too happy, I don't know. you know, that's just my opinion. Katy, what did you think when you saw it?
No, I think I'm with you.
Yeah. It's somewhat like when you see it on Essam with the guitar singing and the thing, even if it's not a polished video, it hits you differently. And I think, you know, we got good fun, and a lot of it was Western funded, you know, but it's still, the words are good, and I think, you know, he continues to critique the system, and, you know, I don't have to tell you he's not a fan of CC. If you don't believe me, watch the last video, the new one which I haven't played. Now,
Maybe he just wanted something lighter, or maybe he has not.
yeah, I like it too, but it's like the words are so potent, and then you've got. Yeah, you're actually right. I mean, I think part of the Arab Spring soundtrack is to be uplifting too. It's not necessarily doom and gloom. It's, you know. So, and I guess, I mean, I can get the song out of my head all day. You know, okay, Olivia, yes.
I kind of agree, and like, I think watching the video it seems kind of silly just because the video just seems a little silly. But like, and you get the feeling that it's been more commercialized and everything too.
Right.
Like,
And they're like paid
I go to
actors.
YouTube a lot just to hear the music though. Like,
Yeah,
I'll be
no,
playing
the
it and
music's
watch
still
the
okay,
videos.
and the words, I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I was glad to get you things with subtitles whenever I could, because I think the words still resonate. And so, moving from Cairokee, moving from Ramy Essam to Cairokee, what does Cairokee mean? Which two words remind you? Yes, absolutely. In fact, the Egyptians would say the band of the mother of all bands.
It is underground music, I guess.
They, wow. So, and it's also a play on, you know, karaoke. If you think karaoke from Cairo, so you're Cairokee. It's kind of cheesy, the title, but oh my gosh, they did a lot, I think, to advance what is now called Indian music. It's not necessarily Arab Spring music anymore. I'm trying to show how it finds its roots in the Arab Spring. And then now it talks about different things. Cairokee right now released a new album that is awesome. And on it there was a song called Lissafakir, which means do you still remember? And it was a beautiful, I'm not going to play that one today, but please look it up. And basically it was written by the lead singer, whose name is Amir Eid. And he was singing to a woman, and he was saying, I'm sitting here and next to you, but there is something between us. And I loved the melody, and it is available with subtitles. And in fact, the whole album's been released like a video album. And so I interviewed him, and I said, who did you write this to? And he said, my mother, and she has Alzheimer's. And so every time I go and I sit with her, and we just look at each other's eyes, and he wrote it on the spot, and it's such a pretty song. And frankly, I played it on the radio, and I explained it in the States, and people were really moved because I think we can all relate to that kind of thing. So I'm not going to play that one because it's not so much the Arab Spring type that Cairokee went on. They're still indie, they're still alternative, but they're talking about other things than just social justice. Well, so this one with Aida Ayubi, have you heard this? So they teamed up with her to talk about the square, Al-Midan, and here it is with what do you think of her voice? I think it worked really well with their voice in the back. Of course, she collaborated with them. Ayubi on this, went on to sing her own genre, and they went on to do other things. But this is sort of a moment captured in history because the song came out just as the Arab Spring was hitting. Did you like it? Mm. Yeah, it's like I think when you a native Arabic speaker, her voice. Should I say it's reminiscent of Fairuz or? I don't know. But she certainly could sing a cappella and get away with it. So these are some of the other artists that I think were instrumental in the soundtrack of the Arab Spring. Moving into Libya, you want to go to Libya? Yes. So when it's spilled into Libya, then we need the Libyan El General, and then that turned out to be this guy called Ibn Thabit. You want to hear the Libyan guy, and then you have to say, did you like El General, Ramy, Essam, or Ibn Thabit? I mean, technically, it's so funny how you need that emblematic voice, and I think Ibn Thabit wanted to be that voice for Libya. And of course, the situation in Libya was very different than even Egypt, and definitely from Tunisia.
مش زي مصر وتونس. لا الشهداء اللي ماتوا سابقا أكثر من مصر وتونس. نسبة البطالة أكثر من مصر وتونس. نسبة عدد الفقراء في ليبيا أكثر من مصر وتونس. صح يا بابا. ليبيا مش زي مصر وتونس. فتنة كامل فاضي. مش تحول كاتب طبعا نقص في الأراضي يا ساتر. كل شعب
Yeah, so that one didn't have subtitles, but I do have in the list another one here by Ibn Thabit. This one that does have subtitles only. It's pretty graphic, so much that's your own risk. Yes, who is going to tell? Autostrad, you wanted to say something about Ibn Thabit?
I find the message has a different color now. It's definitely a different also. You want to get the masses out.
Yeah. And also, did you? I don't know how much you got from it, but you keep saying Libya is different from us. It's all based on this, avalanche that was,
Why is comparing Libya to Tunis?
I think because by the time this is just my personal opinion. And I'm trying to concentrate on the music more than the politics, but I think by the time the Arab Spring was in Tunisia, people understood that this Arab Spring was not this, I don't know, I'm from the 60s in America, we had these moments where we felt things change. So by the time it got to Libya, people knew that this was Arab Spring, there were a lot of outside and inside forces that wanted to interfere. But that's why I like the music, because it continues to be the voice of the youth, who are not necessarily implicated in any one political party, despite the fact that everybody wanted part of the Arab Spring. And, I think we'll have to wait and see where it leads. But you're right, Ruslan. All right, so we'll move on from Libya. And here I went to Algeria. And Morocco, and I'm going to come to this. I'm going there. All right, so let's see who loves them, who hates them, who loves to hate them, or hates to love them. So this is Mashrou Leila. This is the lead singer. His name is Hamdan. And the Arab Spring in Lebanon was, Lebanese. So, there were demonstrations, and there still are. And, the Lebanese feel they have relatively, they have a little bit of freedom of expression more than other Arab countries. I'm not so sure, but they think so. And basically, there it was not so much against the system, but against laws that were either sexist or homophobic or whatever, And I think that's where, when Mashrou Leila came in, they kind of piggybacked on the whole idea of the Arab Spring and started to, I remember Hamdan saying we need to release a song about with the Arab Spring, so they released a song called Jadal. But this group is very controversial. And I always say I wish people could like enjoy their music and not, if you don't like their personal lives, but yes, so what do we know about Mashrou Leila in case anyone doesn't know? Have you heard of it?
Yes, I believe that, if you remember, one of the band members is openly gay.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, and it's like, there's a lot of people in the East.
Yeah, and also he's Sunni, he's Muslim,
Oh, he's
right? So that also creates another aspect. So I think he decided to come out that way through one of his songs, which is very weird to hear in an Arabic song. In Arabic songs, like singers sing to men or to the masculine, but we all know they mean a woman or a female. And why is that? Well, I guess, back to, olden times, was a way to elevate the woman to a higher level, which is very sexist. Or I like to think of it as like, you're singing to the moon, and since the moon is masculine, not feminine, I'm trying to find, But this song by Hamdan called Shimmer Yasmini, I'm not playing that one, but it's available. You hear it, and it starts out, he's like Habibi, not Habibti. Well, Amr Diab says Habibi all the time, So, but then at a certain point in the song, it sounds like oh my God, this is a man singing to a man, and there's a heart there or whatever, and so everybody becomes, and it's that song I think where he got asked so many times about it that he finally said yes, that I went through something like that. Anyway, so and I think that's the one we're going to see now. So, and honestly, there's another reflection of Jordanian Saleh as a whole, because the tickets were sold out. People want to go. People went from all ages. People were like, we want to hear what they said, and we make up our own minds. They also enjoy the rhythm, and the music is really a nice mixture of different genres. Yes?
What was the song you said?
Shimmer Yasmini, Smell the Jasmine. That song started the controversy. Katy, did you want to say something?
Oh, all I was adding is when they were banned that year, it's interesting because it was someone who was Christian actually, who was the person who was against them playing, sort of like.
And it's like a person or like a group or something, and then the whole color. I think we don't have to believe in what they believe or agree. But in Jordan, I like the fact that we're able to express different points of views, and we don't have to agree. I love it. I go into the taxi and we differ, and I keep telling them how nice that we're able to debate. It used to be like, you don't think like me? Get out of the taxi. Now it's like, no, tell me more, and give and take. So alhamdulillah. Anyway, this is the concert that did happen, and then the other two times. And by the way, they are going to be in Jadal, in Byblos, in Lebanon, and the Mutraniya, the Christian church there. Also, I guess they just suddenly discovered lyrics from a song 4 years ago that they considered to be sacrilegious. They were talking about the Christ figure. So here, just a little report to see the Jordanian youth, Mashrou Leila.
The Arab world's alternative music scene is booming. Mashrou Leila, performing in Jordan's capital, Amman, at its historic citadel. Their lyrics are satirical, and the issues they discuss often controversial.
Yeah, so you could delve into their music. They also do these superb music videos. I mean, yes, they're polished, but boy, are they, like, they should win Best Cinematography. They really throw themselves in it. There was somebody here, I forgot, who wanted to say something about one of their videos. Do I not remember? No. Okay, so, you know, they've been very vocal lately about, you know, Palestine or the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Anyway, but so I mean, they're not just talking about the one thing like they become known as like the band or whatever. And no, they're talking about a lot more. And one of the discourses they have, and this would be a lecture on its own, is the discourse that centers on the hijab. And I think that, you know, they do a really good job of speaking to Muslim women of all backgrounds, of all, you know, Sunnis and Shias and everything, and to talk about the right of women to wear the hijab if they want, or not to wear the hijab if they want, and to defend the right of women, you know, like if in this country, of course, the woman chooses to wear it because it makes you feel closer to your faith, to God, to your inner tranquility, and that's beautiful. But in America, and Vera knows this, you know, with the current situation, a lot of women who wear the hijab, and some of them aren't even, you know, Arab women, they're just Muslim women, are getting attacked and they're getting hassled. And so, you know, we're mobilizing at Stanford for the right for these young women to wear the hijab. It's still supposed to be a free country, and women should wear what they want and choose what they want to wear. And it's not up to the government or to especially to men to tell them what to wear or what not to wear. And so that topic is one of their songs, and it is called Ruman. And for the students who are in my class, Rohan is going to be in tomorrow's lesson. Okay, so moving on from Lebanon to the kind of cross, let me say, the kind of collaborations that started happening across the Arab world. So you've got like an Egyptian musician from Cairo, and a musician from Lebanon, and one from Tunisia, and they get together and they would sing. And one of these collaborations is called Islahat. And it is well, it's not a duet, but it's a collaboration between Zeid Hamdan, who is Lebanese, and Maryam Saleh, who is Egyptian. And I think they also play with the thing about, you know, women should be free to wear the hijab or not the hijab. But it's also in this song. And it's a beautiful, I think, song about, you know, it's got a great beat too, but it's really about social justice and equality for all. Are you ready to kind of rock with this? This is not going to put you in. It's like the rhythm and the beat is so amazing, and it is in Egyptian. Shift Z is Zeid Hamdan. Yeah, so hearing this very Egyptian accent with this kind of music. Maryam Saleh ended up part of a new collective, and they're touring the Arab world now with Tamer and Maurice Luqa, and they're all different Arab nationalities, and they formed this collective going around. So here she was still a single artist, a solo artist, and then from there. Katy, we're doing okay? All right, so looking at our page, I want to get to Tania Saleh. Rahim, I said Tania Saleh and you did not get up and go, woo! Didn't we agree that when Tania Saleh would be mentioned, you would do a cartwheel? Yeah, so I just think she is so amazing. She's amazing and her voice is really, so this song I chose for today because I'm trying to show how, certain political realities are being addressed in indie and alternative Arabic music that commercial music would never do it. I'm waiting for the day where Nancy Asram is going to talk about, Bat Habibi and Bishik is Hitna. We want something a little more. And so she's also very gutsy. And so the song is called Omar and Ali. Who wants to unravel that title? Why Omar and Ali? And who are Omar and Ali? Anyone? Yes, Aisha. Exactly, because Omar is Sunni and Ali is a Shia name, right? I mean, not 100%, but we know this. So she is half Sunni, half Shia herself. She grew up in a household with both, and so she was able to kind of appreciate this, and maybe delve further into this than that. In Lebanon, we do have, I think, presence of. Anyway, so she says, I think she's talking to you. Can you be Omar for a second? Can you be Ali for a second? And it's like, why are you sitting like that? Shouldn't you be like, get up, and don't do it, but get up and give him a kiss on the cheek because your brother, we believe in the same Allah, we believe in the same, we read the same Quran, So try to put the politics out of it and just, because when this kind of internal thing happens, it leads to things like the Lebanese war that I experienced in 75, and it's like not just Muslim versus Christian, and then now which one? So it has subtitles and good beat. Here's Omar and Ali. So again, this was controversial, and Tania was implicated in different. Everybody wanted to hate her and love her and whatever. But again, I'm looking at it from somebody who actually grew up in a household that was both Sunni and Shia. And I don't need to say that. I think what hurts the most, I think as global citizens, is to see that these kind of internal struggles that are going on in the Arab world, in Muslim countries, it's like they're fighting against each other while the world is watching. And sometimes I think even benefiting from these kind of struggles. So I'll leave it at that. And moving on to who, Rahim.
Omar Offendum.
Yeah, so who's heard of Omar Offendum? Do you like his name, Omar Offendum and Offendum? And of course the title, Offendum, right, like sir. So he is from Syria. He lives in America now. His real name is Omar Shkaki. And he is amazing. He does this thing where he sings in Arabic and then he sings in English, and so he appeals to both the people in Syria and outside of Syria. Of course, when this song, when it was released, it was called #Syria. Really was at that time where we thought things in Syria were gonna, they were talking about freedom of speech or whatever. It's before Syria became what Syria is today. Certainly it captures maybe that feeling of spilling from Tunisia into Egypt, into Syria, but I don't think Omar today is anywhere near where the optimism or the kind of feeling he had here. Still, it's a good song to listen to, and it's both Arabi heard this, right? It started in Tunisia, and then, you know, do you want to tell us what it means?
People demand the fall of the regime.
Right, and that was sort of the motto that started in Tunisia. So check him out, he's really interesting, and he does also poetry. And when I met him, he can do a rhyme like Anna, right? He could go like, your name is Anna, and like he'd do a whole rap in Arabic with Anna being like the rhyme of the whole thing right on the spot. He's one of those amazing hip-hop artists. So check him out. So I'm going to get to Palestinian singers who, experienced an Arab Spring of their own. So basically, what was the Arab Spring? Two Palestinians living, in let's say Ramallah or in Gaza, as opposed to those who live in the West, as you know, and those who live in Jordan. Do they have citizenships? Do they identify as Palestinian? These three young men are, when I talk to artists, I say, how do you identify? And they said, we identify as Palestinian citizens of Israel. And so they are from what we call Arab al-Dakhil, Ta'un al-48, their families stayed after 48. And so they were born and raised in the city of Lod and Nid, which is one of those cities where there's a lot of crime and I guess drug use. So they grew up with so many issues around them, but they decided to form the group. And what does that mean, sir? It's not a cuss word, right? It's just D-A-M, no N at the end. بالعربي بالإنجليزي
it's a verb.
Yeah.
Remaining to be feminine.
So, and what does it mean? Like if you're going to take it like an acronym? You know?
It's blood.
Right. That was blood also, and.
It's the Arab
MCs. Anyway, and so, they won't say, where did the name come from? Well, some people say this, some people say that. But again, it was this kind of Arabic hip hop, and they sing about a better tomorrow. غير بكرة. And of course, they're living in a society where, there's interactions between Muslims, Christians, and Jews, but then they're also not. And so they get to be Israeli citizens in a way, but they also get access to, So this song, I think, is very optimistic, and this became actually the generic theme to a TV series that is called Arab Labor. And, let's see what you think of this. It's going to begin with children singing, then the trio comes in. Yeah, so powerful lyrics, but I hope the message is, of course, of peace and the Abrahamic religions being one. Tamer is going through a lot right now, this guy. This is his brother Sohail. He left the band. Now they have a young lady, a young woman who's singing in his place. So now we have a powerful female voice. And there I would urge you at home to watch this video here. It's called If I Could Go Back in Time. لو أرجع بالزمان. And this song is about honor killings. And so they do it, but in a very powerful way by bringing Emel, who's a proud Palestinian woman and a singer. And it's the story of her life going backwards. And so the whole video goes backwards. Worth your time at home. All right, so I think we should end with Jordan, like the Arab Spring in Jordan. First of all, Allah yahmi al-Urdun, Allah yahmi sha'b al-Urdun. The most amazing people are here. And despite everything going on in the region, alhamdulillah, we are relatively doing okay. People are working so hard. I meet them every day, and yet there is still this goodness. And if you want, after come see me, I'll give you just like 3 examples that happened to me this week, that if I was in the States, it would never happen. Like getting lost somewhere with my phone not working, and somebody like pulling up in the car and saying, "You remind me of my father and you look lost. Do you want to ride?" I felt like they drove me home, you know, and I got on a taxi or whatever. And the whole ride home, and then, you know, I even tried to give him money. He was like, "Oh, you're like, this is," you know, so you would pay it forward, inshallah. But Jordan did not have the kind, I mean, there were, of course, changes, major changes, and, you know, alhamdulillah, things are good. But who would be the voice of any kind of youth in Jordan? I think it would come down to Jadal. ولا في جدل يا عائشة؟ في جدل؟ أنت مين بتقولي صوت الشباب الجديد في الأردن؟ Oh my God! Yeah. Yes, I think Autostrad came before Jadal, and yes, I think they were the founders of what we might loosely call indie or alternative Arabic music. They're still around. They're amazing. This song is kind of, you know, it's sort of universal in the sense that the youth, I think, all around the world feel this way, that we're working and working and working and we're getting nowhere, and, you know, we're working like a machine, and, you know, it's not just Jordanian, it's like Americans when I do it, they go, "Yeah, man, we need a vacation too." So it's called Al Makina, and I like the way the video, it doesn't have the subtitles, but let's see how quick you guys can read along the lyrics. It's just like a puzzle with words coming around, and if you listen to the Arabi Aisha, you'll be able to read along easily, I think. So let's end with that one. Alright, so there are lyrics, trust me. And I love how every ah is written with the alif, with the madda, very creative and very emblematic and symbolic of the new generation of musicians we're getting here in Jordan. Try to catch them. Hannah Mathlouthi is going to be in concert. She's amazing. I got to interview her. And then we've got some nice indie alternatives. So yes, Kazim Assad is amazing. I don't know why I'm looking at you. Kazim Assad, Kazim Assad is amazing. Kazim Assad is like, but it's still, Kazim Assad has $1 million contracts behind him. try to also support the budding indie Jordanian scene and go up to the artists. They like love to hear you like say, I didn't like your song just as much as I liked your song. In other words, they're always looking to like for how is it reaching you, no matter who you are. So check them out, and the YouTube list is here. And this will lead maybe Katy to part 2, which we'll do on the 28th, which will not be music of the Arab Spring, because now we're going to cover the roots. That's going to be, they're going to have a lot more, variety of themes in terms of the Indian alternative Arabic music. Well, shukran. If you have any questions or suggestions, were you happy with what I said about DAM? Can I tell them? This one is, and he has a friend. Are you the friend? Yeah. So they are like the fan base of DAM, unofficially. They love their songs. And so, I hope I did them justice. You're going to tweet like Ramzi. It's horrible. Be nice, Stephen. Anyone want to say anything before we go? I don't know how our timing is.
We have time for questions.
And even if sometimes you don't have a question, you just have a reaction. You don't have to ask. En français, بالعربي, English. Not in like some other language. تفضلي. بالعربي.
كلمة رضا الناس اللي بيحكوا إنه الموسيقى البديلة العربية هلا عم تصير متأثرة أكثر بالآلات الموسيقية الغربية، إنه استخدام الآلات الموسيقية العربية كثير عم يتراجع. يمكن كثير ناس منطقة مشروع ليلى بيحكوا إنه الموسيقى كثير ممتازة بس هي غربية، وثاني شيء الكلمات الأغاني مش بقوة الموسيقى.
هو حامل سنه بيكتب الكلمات نفسه. أنا كنت بعرفهم، كان معهم واحدة صبية اسمها أمية ملاعب وتركت بعدين. أيوة شوي يمكن صاروا هلا كوميرشال أكثر وأكثر، ويمكن عم يتجهوا نحو الغربي. So much so that the latest song by Mashrou Leila was released in English. And now they've re-recorded it it was released in Arabic, and it was just re-recorded, same video, same song, in English. And this is the first time I hear Mashrou Leila sing in English. It was kind of weird to me to hear them, because he's bilingual. He's also an American citizen, he's also a Lebanese citizen, his mother is Jordanian, his father is Lebanese. And we don't want to lose the young people of today who, to a degree where, if it's not in any way, if there's no fusion or no bridges being sort of built between both musical genre or all musical genres, people will not listen. So I like when they take Kulthum and they mix Kulthum. My mother, Habibti, she goes, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان. أخذوا Kulthum, they took Kulthum's voice and looped it. And I go, but Mom, how many people, the young people, I've got nephews, they're not going to listen to Kulthum at 12. So when they hear this and they hear it being looped and sort of like in a hip hop sound, hopefully that will get them to go hear the original. Because we are a new generation, we assume everybody's going to know who Fairuz is in 10 years, and you better know who Fairuz is for the rest of your lives, if you want to have a fruitful life. But other than that, I think I'm not against it. I love Sayyida Fairuz to me, and when they take her voice and they play with it, whatever, I'm like, it's okay, let the new generation get in that way, and hopefully they'll get there. You're absolutely right, there's a different copying the West blindly, or sort of modernizing music in a way that still is centered on our issues in Arabic from the Arab world.
About in general, I don't know if you say it like this. Before he started, I suppose there was hip hop already in Tunisia or in other countries, but was it very new that he was talking about social justice, about what was happening? Was it really new, or the fact what was new was he was talking about what was happening, or there was no hip hop before?
Yeah, so no, hip hop was the forbidden language, and Had it not been for the internet, the Arabic hip hop would never spread, you know. If there could have been a book, it would have been or whatever. It didn't work, but when he came in with this is poetry, like to me, hip hop, whether it's, you know, from America or from here, it's really poetry. It's like people don't read poetry anymore, they think poetry is dead. Hip hop is the new poetry. So the way he wrote that, they would say, like, you would listen to a general and every Tunisian, because they were fed up of being, they're a very educated nation. You know, people with PhDs can't get a job, you know, doing anything. And so when he sang that with the song, like it just keeps coming at you. You did it, this is how we feel, we're not dogs, we're I think that did define the moment where hip hop was truly born as Arabic. You know, I mean, borrowed, but it
Even
was
in other
local.
countries, there was no hip hop before, maybe in Syria or.
I'm sure.
Not like
I'm sure there was, but it didn't reach me, let's say, or I didn't, you know, until this. And from him, I think he's, you know, should we call him the father of Arab hip hop? He's still young, but you know. Yeah. So yes, I like Arabic hip hop, and I used to think hip hop was a headache when I'm not young. Even in English, till somebody sat down and said, "What are you judging it for? Don't be one of those old people who just because you know it's new to you." And I read some of these lyrics about how it feels like to be a minority in the States at the time, and it's like, wow, this is poetry. And then to hear it in Arabic, yes. Anyone else? Yeah, Rohan.
So, just a question about when, in 2011 or even before, but especially after 2011, you had this explosion in underground music and revolutionary music. But now there's also been counter-revolutionary music. Right, so like there's like Tesla Easy, kind of like pro-CC songs, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, whether we like them or not, do have a lot of views, they have a lot of targets.
Yes, yeah. This should be part of the post-Arab Spring music canon, or I think. It's such a good question. Like, why do I always think of India and alternative Arabic music as being anti-system, anti-whatever? Certainly, I think that would be part of being indie, right? Is if you support, you can also release. The only difference is that when you're releasing songs that are pro the system in which you live, then you become embraced and you become funded by the system. And that kind of, I think, makes it unfair for those who don't. So if you live in a system where whether you're for or against, you got an equal terrain to express yourself, then go for it across the spectrum. But it seems to me sometimes that kind of thing ends up being government funded and almost, you know, get up and say how great everything is, and you know, so I'm not sure, you know, if it's the heart of the indie music scene in any Arab country yet.
I mean, it's trying to crush it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what music's trying to crush indie music.
Yeah, but then you don't want to crush it by silencing the other the way you've been silenced.
Right.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Will you DJ our...
What's this about?
I really want it.
We'll talk about the song. I'll DJ if you say something about today's music.
I recommend
You gotta say for the...
because everyone listens to Calorie by Mashrou.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, did you hear it?
Yeah.
That's the one that was now released also in an English version?
I haven't heard the English.
Yeah, listen to it and see if you know what you think. What did you think? What was everyone we heard? Just tell me the one that got into your club the most.
I mean, I love so many of these artists already, but so picking one that we listened to would be really hard.
Okay.
Picking one that we didn't listen to is much easier. I
All
can't
right.
believe you skipped 47 Soul.
47 Soul, no, I hear
You're on the
it.
list, but you
And they're even highlighted in bold. I was planning to go there, and they're part of the PowerPoint presentation. And Al-Fala'i, who is part of 47 Soul, Tariq Abu Quick was just in Al-Balad that he sang, and they were in San Francisco, and they're an amazing collective, and their videos are amazing, and I love these kids.
That's what I
met them 2 months ago in San Francisco, and like I was literally tearing up, like, and my picture is so bad. I look like this teary-eyed freak. But I was so proud of it. And the music, it's called electro step, electro ducky, electro sham step. And, you know, it's like the electronic music with you should definitely listen to that. You'll love him. Yeah, I love that. أيوة حبيبي.
Who's on your personal playlist right now? What are you listening to these
You
days?
mean the like when Ramzi's in home
What
and the
Ramzi
doors
listens to
closed?
whenever whatever you're listening to.
There are 3 women whose voices have guided me through. They're not. I never play them on the radio because they're not indie. They're not. I never. But of course, Sayyida Fayrouz, the Lebanese diva, who to us, to people like me who were born and raised in Lebanon before the war, she was the voice of joy in Lebanon. Then in the war, she was the voice of hope. She never left Lebanon. You know, we did. We stayed. She stayed. And still sings today. She's 80-something. Released John Lennon's Imagine in Arabic. And her voice in the 80s, and she's like, imagine all the people living life in peace, saying that in Arabic. Now, of course, she gets critiqued, what's she doing, blah, blah, blah. Hey, if Fayrouz coughs, I will buy that coffee all day. The second one, you're not going to be surprised, Aisha Dalila, who to me brings in Egypt and the West. And the third one is my guilty pleasure, and if I say it, you promise not to throw anything at me, because she's so, different than anything. Olivia Newton-John. I saw in the movie Grease before you were born, Katy. في cinema, بالبلد كان وقتها, so كان اسمها cinema, and I went and I saw Grease. And I thought I was John Travolta. You see, I was, I had hair. And I oiled it, and I would say, you're the one that I want. And so I would say, you're going to go marry Olivia Newton-John. And final thing, I met her, and I told her all this. And thank God she turned out to be nice, because I would have been heartbroken. She actually like a pity, So those are my 3 guiding voices. But certainly for the radio, this playlist is kind of the skeleton, and we can flush it out. And I'm glad that there aren't just 5 or 6 musicians from each country anymore.
That's my other question, is like, for you, having interviewed so many people on your show, what has your experience been sort of meeting so many of these musicians? Have you ever had sort of like fanboy moments? Have you ever had people who are really, really down to earth and fantastic? Have you ever had the opposite experience? What is your experience?
Yeah, so I think the more commercial they become, the more you get a little bit of that, I'm a celebrity type vibe. Thank God, I catch them before. and most of them stay the way they are. They stay true to themselves. But I do have these moments where, I meet these young people. 1, I don't have kids, so they become immediately like the kids I want to protect. 2, I'm proud of the music they're doing. It's so difficult to create Hindi and Arabic music in the world at large, much the less in Syria today. And so when I have these moments, I really do feel paternal and protective and inspired, and I tell them this. But then they're into the thing about, but you're a doctor, you're at Stanford, you're whatever, you're thanking us. I go, of course, you guys have guided me through the hardest times through your music. And, and it's the truth, it's just amazing what they're doing so bravely and continuously. That's just my opinion. Now,
I was just thinking, one, it seems like a lot of the artists that become kind of commercialized, in your opinion, it kind of dampens the message, but like, does it also kind of elevate it by monetizing this thing that before maybe wouldn't have the opportunity to reach, and by saying, like, this is worthy to spend money on? So
yeah, and that could lead to the discovery of new talent,
yeah.
you know, in the future. So yeah, I mean, Mashrou Leila, love them or hate them, they are spreading a message of like Arabic music is alive and well. And the words they write, although it's Ammiya, is really, I mean, his mother and him love Arabic poetry, for example. So اللغة العربية سليمة, even though he deliberately plays with it. So they're an example because, you know, they're coming to San Francisco in October. Already the tickets are sold out now. Like, you can't get a ticket. So in a way, I am proud of that because it's gonna maybe make people want to discover other bands. I don't think that commercial success is necessarily a death sentence, but you know, it loses the raw nature of it when it's not so urgent or not written under urgency, and that's, you know, what it is to be an artist. Is it? I don't know. I think we can reward talent without commercializing it too much or, you know, polishing it too much.
Well, I wanted to just thank you so much for the lecture and this opportunity.
I'm so sorry about the PowerPoint. I am gonna like go take computer 101 because it works. Rahid, you saw me out there. Was I not going like I was Mr. PowerPoint? So yes, I will figure this out, and hopefully by the 28th, if we do one, it will go like gold. With and shukran to my lovely assistants, Katy and Habibi, for coming up and helping me. Okay, so email me. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for letting me be me.
Thank you.